Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's Wednesday afternoon for me, or no, for David. I don't know where I'm at. It's Wednesday early evening for me. Welcome to episode number 97 of Material Issues. I'm Mark Hershberger, and it is early evening over here in lovely South Jersey as the sun is shining just outside of Philadelphia, but it's middle of the afternoon where my good friend David Bash is hanging out in California. President of International Pop Overthrow, David. How you doing tonight?
Good, Mark. How are you?
I'm actually pretty good. It's a beautiful day. And Ches and I have been in and out. I had some doctor's appointments today, ear, nose, throat stuff, getting ready for some teeth work as you are. But you know, it's been an interesting day. Sunday, a couple days ago, I did the South Jersey boys senior all-star game at Rutgers Camden for a great crowd. I did the PA announcing, and it was a lot of fun. Slam dunk contest, 3-point. It was great. And then I come home and I got a call. I was asked to MC and host the One Love Animal Rescue big banquet again this year because well, not me, but they raised the most money ever last year when I hosted it. They asked me back again, which is where I got my doggy Ches from. And then the next night, I got a call from the girls basketball team here in Haddonfield. For the first time, I've hosted the boys' year-end banquet many times, but I've never done the girls. And they called and asked me to host their banquet at the country club coming up late April. So I'm kind of Mr. MC host for the next 2 months, which is cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, you say you've never done the girls. You probably should keep it that way.
Yeah, but it's funny because the boys have a big booster club. The boys, they get packed houses and they make a lot of money on concessions and booster. So their year-end banquets they're always at Tavistock Country Club, and they're a big deal. It's a lot of fun. The girls don't get those kind of crowds. They don't get that kind of money behind them. So their banquets are usually at somebody's house, and it's just a dinner and things. But
right.
But this year, hi Gary. Nice to see you.
Gary.
This year they did get some money in, and they're having a nice banquet at a Woodcrest Country Club, and they asked me to host or to MC it and host it. So it's really neat. So I'm gonna have some fun with it.
That's awesome. Slam dunk contest for high school students. Like how good well, I would assume most of these kids haven't reached their full height yet. Some may have, but
yeah.
How good are these? I mean, what can they do compared to?
There have been some years where it's been incredible, where you just go, I don't know if you watched it, but last night on ESPN was the McDonald's All-American game, which is the 24 best seniors in America, which is mostly they're virtually all from the basketball factories, the big prep school for basketball, Oak Hill, La Lumiere, Florida, whatever they are. But those guys are high flyers. Those are guys that signed to Duke, Kentucky, North Carolina. But when you're talking South Jersey, it's just Southern New Jersey. Some years it's great. Some years you have some big time height. This year, some of the bigger guys, like they didn't mention last night on ESPN, but 2 of the players out of the 24 in the country, McDonald's All-Americans, were from Camden High, which is 2 from a small public school. It's unprecedented, and they didn't mention that fact at all at ESPN, probably because of all of the controversy surrounding that. I won't get into that, but they're high flyers. They could have done amazing things. But there's some interesting stuff that goes on. But right here, so 7 miles from me, two of the McDonald's All-Americans for the boys. The one, DJ Wagner, was the MVP of the game. And 1.5 miles from me was the MVP of the girls' McDonald All-American game. So I'm kind of in very rarefied air here. But they can be good. The dunks can be good. This year, it wasn't
really.
But I still have to get the crowd kind of worked up and crazy and screaming and yelling, and it's a lot of fun.
Speaking of worked up crowds, tomorrow is opening day.
Oh yeah,
for the baseball season,
mm-hmm.
Or as Jim Bouton said in Ball 4, opening day, depending on how you feel about it. I definitely feel the latter. I'm very excited. Can't wait. generally don't watch much preseason baseball. It's the busiest time of year for me. That sounds like your version of John Borak, somebody who's a good friend of yours. Is that an inside joke or something?
I don't know, but
You know who it is?
it is now going to probably be. I don't know who it is.
Who
are the Yankees playing tomorrow?
They're playing the Giants. And
Oh, wow.
that was going to be a big deal if Aaron Judge went to the Giants, because there were all those rumors for him for opening day for him to come back to Yankee Stadium, but thankfully that didn't happen. And but the Yankees, especially their pitching staff mainly, is riddled with injuries. What else is new?
Yeah.
It seems like every time they make a trade, Frankie Montas from the A's, he's out for at least half the year. Carlos Rodon, one of the best pitchers in the league, has some issue right now and is going to be out for a while. So yeah, there's some problems, but nevertheless, I'm trying to remain optimistic and looking forward to it. There's nothing better for me than watching baseball and having the baseball package. So no matter where I am in the world, and during baseball season, I am in some places outside the country. No matter where I am or when it is, I can watch a game. So,
what do you really enjoy at our age now? Because I got to be honest with you, the older I get, I mean, I'm interested in many things, but I find it harder. And this kind of goes into a lot of different things in my life, but I find it harder to sit and watch a complete athletic event, be it baseball, be it basketball, be it whatever it may be. I just, I don't know. I get a little bored with it quicker.
Good evening, Andy.
Hey, Andy.
We'll dispense with the American sports talk in a little bit, so don't worry about it. Well, the one good thing about watching baseball is well, I guess this is true with virtually every game. It's so easy to follow that you can turn the sound off and you can multitask, and it's a slow game also. So it's not like if you divert your eyes for a bit to look at your email or to do anything at all, that you're going to miss much. So it's a very easy game. It's a very easy game to where you don't have to have your eyes riveted. You can do other things while you're watching. Now, in my case, I love the Yankee announcers. Michael Kay has been one of my favorites. So for many years. So I tend to want to keep the audio on. But even then, I can do other things and not worry about it while I'm watching. So I don't have that much of a problem.
Are you okay with just, if you had to, just listening as opposed to listening and seeing?
Like if I have to, sure.
Radio days, I mean.
Sure. Fortunately, that hasn't been the case for a long time with a baseball package. Although now there's all kinds of different deals that MLB has with other networks like Peacock and what else is it, Pluto, or I forget. Some of the streaming services are exclusively airing games, and they're not on the package. I think I have most of those streaming services, but there may be some days where I'll have to go to the radio broadcast. Whatever. It's all good, and I'm looking forward to it. Let's see. Any new IPO news? No, not really. Just chugging along. Yeah. Just sent out the Copenhagen schedule to the bands.
Oh, nice.
We'll be putting that one up. It's only 2 days, but 19 bands, and that's about the right amount for our first year there. So looking forward to that. All our tickets are bought. Hotels are bought. So we're actually going to be going to in between IPOs, Liverpool and Copenhagen. We'll be going to Glasgow and Edinburgh for a bit. Okay. Just kind of hang out in those places. We've never been to Scotland, so should be fun.
Oh, really?
I know you have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we were up there. I did the van driving for the tour for the Deadbeat Poets up.
I remember, yeah.
Somebody wants to know that you bought a hotel. Just say yes, I did. And
Well, no, I mean, I thought that went without saying.
Yeah,
You
no,
know, I'm an IPO mogul. Yeah, I mean,
yeah. No, I took the Deadbeat Poets on a tour when we did the UK, and I'll tell you what, when you're driving a vehicle, like an SUV, I guess we had, and you're driving on the wrong side of the vehicle, on the wrong side of the road,
right.
through the windy ones. It is what was one of the scariest moments in my life. I thought some thrill rides at amusement parks were scary, but when you saw, like, when I'd see an 18-wheeler coming at me on a 2-lane road,
No.
and I'm trying to navigate think about the fact that I got to stay on the side I'm not used to, on the opposite side of the car. So the truck is coming, like, oh, it was just, and even all the guys were laughing at me, Pete and Frank and John, they were just cracking up. I said, yeah, you got to crack up. If we crack up, cracking up time will be over.
Yeah, I'm sure the other guys would have had the same experience if they drove.
Andy says wrong side.
I knew it. I knew that was coming.
But yeah, it was an experience. One I'll never forget. But what a great trip up through Scotland. Gorgeous. Yeah.
Andy, so you know, the roads in much of the UK are a lot narrower than they are in the US.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when Rena went to North Wales for business, and I had gone to London that day, and I was supposed to meet her in North Wales. I went back to our hotel. A car picked me up at like 1 a.m. It's pitch black, and he's driving me to the hotel where Rena is. And I swear to God, this guy was going really, really fast on these narrow roads. I thought for sure we're going to just run right into a truck or something. I was so scared the whole trip. Didn't mean anything to him. He was fine with it. But I couldn't imagine driving on a road like that.
And the hard part is, the countryside is so beautiful. There were sheep grazing on the green hills. It was a kind of drive you wanted to just kind of roll the window down and just take it all in. But I had both hands on the steering wheel, just going like this.
Oh, so this was during the day, during the light hours.
No, this was during the day. This was during
night.
Yeah.
So could you imagine at night? That was.
Oh no, I couldn't. Even going through like a roundabout, trying to remember that as I go around, I gotta stay. It was like National Lampoon's European Vacation. Look, kids, Big Ben. I can't get over.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, it was a great time though. Great time. Yeah.
Now, maybe I should. You know what? Now that you mention it, maybe when we're in Scotland, we will rent a car, and I will try to drive on the wrong side of the road. I've never done it, so.
Or the unusual side of the road for us. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's. Yeah, I hadn't even considered to do that, but now I am.
And it's just everything about it. Like when you get to a stop sign or a red light or something, and you're going to make a right or a left, you have to tell your brain that it.
Yeah, right.
You stay instead of going like you would normally go into the opposite.
I'm trying to imagine that scenario in my head, just preparing myself for the time when I would actually do it. And but I'm sure once you're actually doing it, it's like, oh boy.
Get me through this.
Well, we'll obviously find a place where there aren't too many cars, and at a good time of day, and we'll start with that. And
it was a cool experience. One that I treasure. It was great.
Oh, good. Let's see what else is going on. Well, I've been streaming a few shows lately. The one that everybody's talking about, and I don't know if you've watched this yet, is Daisy Jones and the Six.
Have not. That's on my my next night. I have open to kind of binge 2 or 3 episodes, but I have not.
Well, yeah, I mean the reviews have been mixed among my friends, most of whom are musicians.
Yeah.
So obviously it's going to hit home with them a little bit more. No spoilers here, so don't worry about that if you haven't watched it. But it's about a fictitious rock band from the 70s, their trials and tribulations. It seems to be loosely based on Fleetwood Mac,
Mm.
But very loosely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, for sure. Hopefully it's Andy. Hopefully it's airing on one of your streaming platforms now. Um, the one thing, the one thing I've learned is that if something's on a streaming platform here, even if you have that, if you're out from outside the U.S. and even if you have that platform, it's not necessarily on your version of it, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So, but I'm sure Andy already realizes whether or not he knows if it's on. But at any rate, it's you have to. The way I look at these kind of shows, and I have the same experience with vinyl. If you remember that one from
Yep.
a few years ago,
Yeah.
you don't want to take it too literally. There are going to be some factual inaccuracies. Vinyl was supposed to be a little bit closer to reality, I think, but there are certainly factual inaccuracies. But going in, I knew that, and I don't really care because I'm looking at this show as pure entertainment. And on that level, I think it succeeds. The acting is well done. The musicality is well done. Although, I have pointed out on a Facebook post that the songs don't quite have the nuances that actual songs from the 70s do.
Right.
Many of them are written by younger people and they just don't get it or don't want to get it. As it was, it may be that they're trying to get young viewers to watch. They don't want the songs to be too weird for the young viewers, so they don't want to make them too authentically 70s, perhaps, or maybe they just don't know how. But that is one thing that's kind of lacking. While while the trappings are there, the content is not quite right. And there's one scene in episode 9, I believe. And again, this isn't much of a spoiler because it's not that big a deal. But this one, I kind of, even though again, I'm looking at this as pure entertainment, it was one of those, oh, come on moments. They're they're on top of the world. They're playing huge arenas, and they've had #1 hits. A couple of the band members are in a club in New York. Maybe it was supposed to be CBGB's, maybe it wasn't. But they're watching a punk band, and this place couldn't have held more than like 50 people.
Yeah.
But it's filled to the brim with people, and they're all loving it. And one of the guys says to the other one, "We're done." Like they could see it coming, like the end of the end of classic 70s rock. It's going to be replaced by this punk
Yeah.
music.
You could have written the line, right?
It's like, oh yeah, come on, some guy in a band who's among the most famous in the world is going to be discouraged by that, the enthusiasm by 50 people over. Yeah, it's like,
hey, it makes it makes good television. That's all.
Does.
That's all it is.
I mean, I kind of got a hold of myself over and saying, remember, this is just entertainment.
It's just
kind of laugh along with it.
And
this
not
didn't happen in reality. Don't worry about it.
And not to bring conversations back because we just kind of go here and there wherever I get in focus here, but back to sports and things. But one thing that has bothered me about basketball, whether it's pros, now college, not even high school and things like that, is that the rules have been so lax anymore that it would start to bother me. The carrying,
we talked about that,
the pushing off and things. And I've really had to just tell myself, listen, it's different from when you were young, and it's a different kind of entertainment now. These high school kids are now making millions of dollars as a high school kid with NIL contracts.
Really? Wow.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The guys over here from Camden, DJ Wagner signed with Nike for $1.5 million last year.
That's insane.
As a high school kid. But it's entertainment anymore. It's not. I think more, and I've said this to you before, I think more in the 60s and the 70s when I was growing up. To me, it seemed more like a sport and something fans could get behind and cheer than it was strictly entertainment. And I think a lot of sports now have loosened the rules and changed the rules in order to make it more entertaining than just sport.
Yeah, I mean, it's always, look, make no mistake, and this is true in every part of the world. It's always been sports have always been a business.
Yeah.
The question is, how much of that is actually revealed to the public? The public now knows that this is what it is, and also, I mean, and there's so much more money to be made now that the league, the teams, whatever it is, they're going to milk it for all it's worth. And if it means loosening of the rules, if it means, I mean, whatever it might mean, short of just absolutely having no rules, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
And it's a shame, but yeah, look, we had our time. I always say, look, we had our time. It's time for the kids now. Let them have whatever they want. I mean, if we want to judge it, that's all fine, but it's their turn.
But that's the point I was getting to is, for a while it had just bothered me. And I just had to learn to let it go because it is different. And it's the same thing with music. It's the same thing with food. It's the same thing with just a lot of things in your everyday life that you enjoyed a certain way for a long period of time, and it morphs, it changes, it gets different, and you roll with the changes and just be grateful and happy with it, and grateful and happy for everything that you have had, or you become an old curmudgeon, which is what I did not want to be. And just enjoy it enjoy it.
Did we?
No.
I swore when I was in my late teens that after having some sort of generational gap issue with my parents, when I'm their age, I'll be so in touch with my kids or the kids in the neighborhood or whatever. Hell no.
It didn't work out.
You're obviously way more in touch because you actually have kids and you make an effort. I have no idea what today's kids are thinking about, other than the stuff that's other than rite of passage stuff. We've
discussed this briefly a little bit too, because of my association with the high school, and all the high school players and the kids and my own daughters and things. It's a whole different world, and in order to understand their world and to know where they're coming from and be able to do the things that I do within that world, you just have to take it for what it is. And it's different for them. It's different when I was young, and as it is for everybody as generations go by. So, I may not.
Don't let it stress you out too much.
Exactly.
Like I said, the kids deserve their turn. I mean,
exactly.
Was it as good? I mean, can it even be objectively measured as to whether one generation is better, of higher quality?
No.
Probably not. It is possible that today's generation happens to suck. I mean,
it's possible.
It's certainly possible, but it's really not necessarily up to us to decide.
Exactly.
We're never going to see it the way they do. They're not going to see our generation the way we do. That's probably something that, because of certain rites of passage in life, that's probably something, just in terms of our development as people, that's probably something that's never going to change.
Think about it. We grew up with Oreo cookies. We could never have imagined double stuff.
Right.
Right. And now friggin' Oreos, and I'm pre-diabetic, so I watch all my sugar intake. Friggin' Oreos came out, and I got a bag because I had to try them, with toffee cream crunch Oreos.
Oh wow! I don't like butter really, so I would not be into that. But it sounds pretty cool.
Toffee cream crunch. They're insanely good. My God! But and just like potato chips, when we were kids, we had potato chips. That was it.
What was the first other flavor? I remember barbecue,
and then sour cream and onion.
Sour cream and onion, yeah, which I didn't want.
Those are the triumvirate. You had your plain, then all of a sudden, oh my God, they make this thing called barbecue, and then sour cream and onion was like revelatory. It was like, I can't believe this flavor. After that, now, as you know, there's a lot, and you have your favorites, and I have my favorites. And I was going to ask you that question: if you had your dream potato chip flavor? I know you love ketchup. That exists. Is there a flavor that doesn't exist that would make you go, holy cow, this would be the end of me?
Wow. I doubt it. I
Yeah.
think they've covered just about any combination I could think of. I mean, they're curry flavored chips.
Yes. Yeah.
That was a good one. Lay's in Canada were had those for a bit. They're gone now, but I think in the UK they still have that. I mean, you know, chili flavored, you know, flame grilled steak. Well, yeah, right. I know. Now there's all kinds of ruffles,
Well, I
yeah, but
came up.
ketchup flavored is still my favorite, and
I
probably
know
all.
that's your favorite. I came up with two, and we talked about the one before, and I think they have it in the UK. They just don't have it in the US. The Worcestershire sauce potato chips, right? Worcestershire.
Like Bugs Bunny, yeah.
But I think they have those. But I did see online where you could take the plain chips, put Worcestershire sauce in the bag, shake it, and then eat it. And I did that, and it was amazing. But you know, they talk about
texture, of course, but yeah.
Well, they talked about that. Remember, I sent you the bag of like the Lay's had the contest in Philadelphia and had that a couple of different bags, and the one winner was the long hot peppers and provolone cheese potato chips. You don't like cheese, but it was really good. And he got $10,000 for coming up with that idea.
Wow.
Well, my idea is Caesar salad potato chips.
Real. I wonder if Reno would like that.
Caesar salad potato chips.
Yeah, that could work.
Could work. You wouldn't like it because there's cheese and
Caesar salad. I don't like Caesar salad.
I think that would be a great potato chip. That's just me. Oh, wait.
Try it.
We had plain cheese in it. Yeah, salt and vinegar is always great. It was one of my favorites. You're right, Andy. But yeah, that would be it. I still wish Worcestershire sauce would come back. They'd come back in the U.S. with potato chips. That's just
I was actually fairly prescient in this regard, and I forget if we've spoken about this on Material Issues, but back in the 80s when I would go to baseball games, I would buy a bag of popcorn, and I would stick jalapeno peppers in there, and I'd mix it up. And I remember the friend I used to go to games with just seemed revolted by that. But he would good-naturedly kid me. But I remember one time I was sitting there eating, and I heard a guy behind me tell his friend, he puts jalapeno peppers in his popcorn. That really gives me the willies. And I turned around and I said, you just wait. One day that's going to be a really, really big thing. Sure enough,
I think
jalapeno popcorn about 10 years later came out, and it's still a really popular flavor.
What if they made jalapeno popcorn potato chips?
They do have jalapeno flavored potato, not popcorn flavor.
But there's the flavor, jalapeno popcorn potato
flavor.
chips.
Yeah, I would certainly. I love anything spicy if it doesn't have cheese in it.
Yeah,
or sour cream or anything like that. I'm totally into it. Yeah,
well, you like
potato chips are great.
Like curry, that's one of my favorites. It doesn't always like me, but it's one of my favorites. I love curry.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I mean, fortunately, there's always new stuff that these companies are going to throw out there. I still don't understand why you can't find ketchup flavored potato chips in the U.S.
Really
why the people at Lay's for some reason only think that Canada is a good market for it. No, they weren't. The popcorn that I bought in bags wasn't particularly salted. The salted popcorn was when you bought it from a concession stand in a carton separately.
Yeah.
That stuff was very salty. Yeah, because they really wanted you to buy more drinks. So
how about in the 70s going to the movies, getting popcorn, and if you got butter on it, it was that whatever that was, it butter that came out of that pump.
I never ate it, but
they used to put like 2 gallons.
I don't know what it was. It was probably really terrible for you, whatever it was.
But I was talking to somebody the other day. I was very fortunate. I grew up in a small town, but it was a college town. But in my small town, 1 block away from me was the one screen movie theater. It was
oh wow.
And in the 70s, when I would just walk down the street to go to the movies, my parents could give me $2, and the movie was $1. Popcorn was 50 cents. A soda was a quarter,
Oh
and
yeah.
a box of Milk Duds or Jujubes or something was a quarter. So for $2, you had your whole night.
You had it made, yeah.
Had it made. And I would go see a movie on a Friday night, and if I loved it, I'd probably go again next Tuesday or Wednesday and see it again. Because it was
Just to get the jujubes and the popcorn.
it didn't matter. It was
No, I know. I'm kidding.
you could go out. The movie started at 7:00, even on a Wednesday night. I'd walk 1 block down the street, go to the movie, and walk 1 block home. I'm home by 8:45.
No, that yeah, I envy that. But yeah, I mean, it was very common back then to see a movie more than once in a theater because it wasn't that expensive, and you didn't have cable.
If
you had no cable,
exactly.
Yeah.
And they would play the movie for like 3 weeks. Maybe even a month.
right?
Depending. And you had no cable. We had 3 TV stations. And when something like Kentucky Fried Movie, when you're a teenager, came out, and with all the the raunchiness of it at the time, oh my God, that was.
Speaking of that, I'm actually Facebook friends with Tara Strohmeyer, who played the girl in the in that news scene, which was obviously very controversial at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, I thought she was the hottest thing, and I mean, she had absolutely perfect breasts. I thought.
Kentucky
I
Fried.
hope she's not watching this. But I mean, I hadn't seen a real pair of breasts at that point. I had and what I'd seen in the movies was fairly limited. But yeah, I just remember thinking, oh wow, these are perfect.
And on a big screen when it popped up.
Yeah, like did I? Yeah, the first time I did see it was on the big screen. Yeah.
It was funny because even I don't was Kentucky Fried Movie. I guess it was rated R at the time.
Yeah,
and I think you were supposed to be 18 to get in, but
right.
we got in when we were younger than 18. They didn't care.
Nah.
They didn't even, they just if they took your money and you went in. Everybody knew.
Most people had fake IDs anyway.
Yeah.
And they didn't really care whether it was real or not.
It was great.
No, that was part of the trilogy with Tunnel Vision and Groove Tube, but it was by far the best.
Oh yeah.
And it's a movie that for sure could not be shown now.
No, not with Danger Seekers. Remember?
Well, that's the most blatant thing, but there are other more subtle. I mean, even a fistful of yen you wouldn't be able to do.
No.
Lord. They're right.
But anyway, it's just wonderful. Great memories.
I should see if Tara wants to be a guest actually on Material Issues because she was in a few teen exploitation movies in the 70s as well.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the name of one of them, but it was a movie based in Van Nuys, which is it's a town next door to us. Mm-hmm. And it was basically about, it was the usual thing, kids cruising in their cars and the adventures they got in. I don't remember the name, but she was in that also. But anyway,
some of those great we could do a whole episode on some of the greatest movies.
And a whole episode on the Twilight Zone too, which I've been watching. I'm on a Twilight Zone Facebook group now, and that's been a lot of fun. As usual on those groups, you have your assorted characters, fanatics, newbies, all kinds of stuff, and the debates, of course, go back and forth. And I listed my 10 favorite and my 10 least favorite, and of course that raised some controversy. But most people actually liked my list. They agreed with a lot of my choices. But anyway. Back to Daisy Jones. Boy, did we go. I would say this: watch it for the entertainment value, because, like I said, everything about it on that level it checks all the boxes. Don't worry so much about accuracy, and just enjoy it for what it is. We're on episode 10 now, the final episode of the season. I don't know how it's going to end, but we're definitely looking forward to that. What else did I watch? Oh, I got to give a big shout out to my friend Carmen. There you go.
Yeah.
I know who that. Bewitching Pool almost was number one worst for me. I was number two to the Invaders, which the Invaders is the one with. It's actually a favorite of a lot of people. It's the one with Agnes Moorehead and
Yes. Yeah.
for me, I mean, I get the story's a good one, but for me, it's just her shrieking like an orangutan for 20 minutes. I can't stand it. I just can't watch it. Well, I acknowledge the Bewitching Pool. All right, we'll talk about this right now.
Let's do a Twilight Zone remake where you have to watch the
For those who've never seen the Bewitching Pool, it's basically about kids in an affluent LA neighborhood, probably Beverly Hills, being raised by just sort of distant, maybe even a little cruel parents, and through their swimming pool, they're able to escape to sort of children's Shangri-La, where everything is peaceful, and there's a woman named Aunt T who's just a kind old lady who's running the place, and it's a really great escape for the kids. And so the story is good because a lot of kids were raised in that environment, and they can relate to that.
Yeah.
They wish they did have a place to get away from their distant or cruel parents. So on that level, Bewitching Pool really hits the mark. Where it doesn't hit is the acting is awful. I mean, the parents, I don't know where they got these people. I think the dad might have been like the janitor, and maybe whoever was supposed to play the dad bailed at the last minute. Oh my God, what are we going to do? Hey, you who's cleaning the floors, get over here. Boy, the guy could not, and the mom wasn't much better. That's why it's so good. The little girl who was played by Mary Badham, who actually was a very good actress. She had been in To Kill a Mockingbird playing Scout. You really couldn't tell in this case because she was dubbed during most of the episode by June Foray, who did Rocket J. Squirrel's voice.
Yeah, right. June Foray.
They had to dub her because there was a bunch of backlot noise, and she spoke too softly, so you wouldn't have been able to hear her. Sport, Jeff. Yeah, well, it was, but and this is why I don't understand why John Borak, who's making these comments, likes it. As somebody who for many years and still does a little bit video editing for a living, he should be abhorred by it. But the show starts with a scene from later on in the show. And it made, it's almost like a preview, and that's not what Twilight Zone was about. The reason they did that is because for whatever reason, when they finished the filming, they saw they were a couple of minutes short.
Right. Yeah.
And they had to do something. So they started it with a scene that was going to occur later on. I mean, honestly, John, if you had a program like that, would you want to be responsible for that mess? They're not down. Oh yeah, they're not down there. And then the dad, who's such a good actor, says, "Yeah, I know." Like if one of your kids had disappeared into wherever,
I'd be very calm
after they had been in a pool. I think you would have a little more emotion in your voice. I think you'd be kind of panicked. Dad goes, "Yeah, I know." It was like he found out that he lost a poker hand or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it was ridiculous. There's so many things wrong technically about that episode that it takes a good story and absolutely ruins it.
I gotta check my Twilight Zone book to see who directed that episode. Do you remember?
Well, Buck Houghton was the director the whole time. I mean, who wrote it?
I guess Buck Houghton probably directed it because he did a whole.
Yeah, he did a whole bunch of them. So
he did a bunch of them, but
who wrote that one? That's a good question. I don't think Rod did. I think it was a one-off writer.
Maybe. And then
back in season 5, which is by far the worst season in my opinion, there were a lot of one-off episodes written by one-off writers. Yeah. Well, we don't want to go there.
Yeah.
Let's just leave that a Power Pop movie alone. But uh, again, The Bewitching Pool was a beautiful story, and that's why some people really love it, despite all its flaws. I just couldn't. I'm sorry, but that's just such bad television on a technical level that you just feel it's even more abhorrent when it ruins a good story. It had been a lousy story also, and it was ruined. Okay, whatever. But anyway, so there's Daisy Jones. I want to give a shout out to my friend Carmen from Toronto for tipping me to this show. It's called Agent Elvis, and it's on
Oh
Netflix
yeah,
now.
the animated. It's the animated.
It's animated, and Matthew McConaughey lends the voice to Elvis, which is probably a fantasy of his. I got to imagine he gets to be Elvis for a few minutes every day. It's supposed to be circa 1969 Elvis, and it's absolutely. I mean, there's so many anachronisms and non sequiturs in this thing that it's just so funny on that level. I don't really want to say any more than that. And of course, because it's a cartoon, all kinds of laws of physics can be ignored. But yeah, so much of it's really the non sequitur stuff that carries it. You're just watching this thing, like, what the hell is that about? But the thread is that Elvis is a secret agent as well as being Elvis. So I would recommend people at least check it out, especially if, I mean, the animation's very modern, so don't expect something like Warner Brothers, because you're not going to get it. If you're not into modern animation, that might turn you off, but it's all good to me. I finished episode 3, and I'm definitely going to binge the whole thing. Speaking of that, one time when I was really into animation in the early 90s, I wanted to write a paper on cartoon physics.
Yeah.
For example, the idea that, especially on Warner Brothers cartoons, mainly Bugs Bunny, his antagonist or even Bugs would run off a cliff and they'd be hanging in midair until they realized that they were there.
Yeah.
Then they would fall. That's cartoon physics.
Yeah. I love it.
Not to mention, of course, the fact that somebody might, once they could fall, from that height, hit the ground, be smashed into an accordion, and then the next scene they're back to normal.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, it would be great.
So I never did write that paper, but there's still time, I suppose.
Oh yeah.
I think I haven't watched enough modern cartoons to be versed enough in how cartoon physics may have changed over the years. But anyway,
or even
I would recommend Agent Elvis.
I've seen one episode of it. It's interesting.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I saw it.
I saw you writing something down. What was?
No, somebody reminded me of something, and I'll bring it up in a second. But I wanted to write it down. Well, we could talk about it now. We talked about it briefly, but I really lost track of this thing coming out, and evidently it's on pre-order, coming out next month. Ace Records with "She's Got the Power," female power funkin' garage compilation, which is coming out on
Volume 2, right?
What's that?
Volume 2.
Volume 2.
Yeah.
Ace, Big Beat, and the Dolmans are going to be on there. The Dolmans have a track on there.
Was that something they had to license from you, or?
Yeah. Well, they did that about a while ago, maybe 2 years ago. And I thought maybe the whole project was shelved because I didn't really hear anything more about it. But I guess things just got slower and whatever. But all of a sudden it popped up ready for pre-order, and a friend of mine, Lindsay, over in the UK, sent me an email with a link saying, "Hey, look, this is coming out," and it includes tracks from Blondie, the Dolly Rots, Vivica Sagastad, the Laundrettes, Amy Rigby, Susie and Los Cuatro, Ivy, the Donnas, Cocktail Slippers, Shonen Knife, the Dolmans on Pop Detective, Puffy Amayumi, the Go-Go's, Palmyra Del Rey, Girls School, Sahara Hot Nights. A lot of great artists on this thing. It's
That's very cool, including a couple that have played IPO.
Yeah.
The Dolly Rots, when they were much younger, about 17 years ago, played IPO, and they were really, really good. So I'm glad of their success that they've attained
good
over
friend
the
of mine,
past 10 years.
Lindsay Hutton over in the UK, who used to do a lot of writing and reviewing over there of music, and he's a big Dolman's friend and fan.
No, that's congratulations on.
He let me know about it. It's really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember which CDs we spoke about last week, but I can bring a few. Our good friend Cliff Hillis.
Oh yeah.
Has a new EP called Be the Now. I want to count it as an LP because it has 8 songs on it, but I don't know. However you want to. This is a little bit different than. I mean, it's very pop. APO behind the scenes. Yeah, you'll be waiting, all right. And so this is very poppy, as Cliff always is, but vocally he kind of reminds me a bit more these days of David Brookings, if you know who he is.
Yeah.
Formerly Memphis, now LA based artist who's put out lots and lots of albums. Yeah, I mean, this is as catchy as Cliff has ever been. And if you don't know Cliff Hillis, you're really missing out. He's definitely one of the pillars of the pop scene. Also a member of the great Baltimore band Starbelly.
I think they're down south on tour right now. They're opening.
Yes, they are. So they're still doing their thing. Hopefully there'll be a new record. I mean, there was a few years ago, but hopefully there'll be another. But I would recommend this. Definitely check it out. New one by one of my favorite San Francisco bands, the Decibels, When Red Lights Flash. Again, kind of a little, very power pop with a bit of a garage feel, certainly a 60s edge to it. The two Severs brothers are the main guys. They're really not going to be playing live, unfortunately, but this is a really, this is a really a fine pop record. If you like, it's just a really good, solid power pop album. I would definitely recommend this one. I know Cool Cat carries it. So definitely check this out. This one, I don't know if it's officially out yet, but it will be. Vanilla, one of my favorite bands from the Pacific Northwest. Their new album called 77. And yes, it definitely is influenced by the music of 1977. And these guys are actually old enough to have lived it. I don't know that they were musicians yet in 1977, but they grew up with that kind of music, as I did. They're around my age, and they do a really nice job. All kinds of influences. You got some power pop. You got a little bit of sort of rock disco. You've got some yacht rock. You've got all kinds of songs reminiscent of that time, but this is a pop band, so they do them all. They do them all very, very well. Oh, there's a song here called "Ramblin' Man," but it's not that. No, it's not and that's from '73 anyway. So anyway, check this one out. Like I said, I don't know if it's out yet, but it should be soon. If not, brand new record on Think Like a Key, one of my favorite labels out of Florida. Roger Houdel. Think Like a Key is going to be doing a showcase at IPO Liverpool, actually. So they're bringing a lot of their U.S. artists out, and there will be a couple from the area as well. This is a group called Novelty Island. Well, it's really one guy with a little bit of help, Tom McConnell from the UK, from Liverpool, actually. Wallsend Weekend Television. Yeah, I know who that is. Anyway, a little bit of power pop, a little bit of singer-songwriter, all very nicely arranged, all really good pop melodies. Tom has a very expressive voice. Mostly on the slower side, but some up tempo as well. Looks like some of it was recorded at Abbey Road, some of it was recorded in Liverpool. Very good. So you should check out. Those of you listening should check out Think Like a Key. It's a really cool label. A lot of really cool new bands. A lot of reissues of prog stuff from the '70s, like Pado, Flash. A lot of live recordings that had not previously been out. Boy, that's redundant. Not previously, as opposed. I don't think I need both words in there.
In this ever-changing world in which we live in.
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, it was never that.
I know.
Apparently, it was in this ever-changing world in which we're living.
We're living, yeah.
Yeah, but there's still a couple of ends there. So, Andrew Gabbard, who put out a really nice pop album a couple of years ago on the Karma Chief label. This one's called Cedar City Sweetheart, and it's a country music album, but he does not have a country voice in any sense of the word. He's got a pure pop voice, and the chord changes in here you would not hear in country songs at all. So it's really a nice kind of experiment. It has the country instrumentation and some country melodies, but again, lots of really cool chord changes, a lot of great vocal arrangements that you wouldn't hear in country. So it's much more of a pop album, in fact. I would highly recommend this to pop fans. I'm very impressed with this guy. I know he's gotten a lot of buzz, and he also, with his brother, has a Gabbard Brothers release, which is excellent. I would definitely check this out. Again, Karma Chief Records, which is a subsidiary of Coal Mine that does a lot of R&B influence stuff. I would highly recommend this one. It just came out. I ordered it from Amazon a few days ago. I'm trying to remember if there was anything else that I didn't get to last week that I would have liked to. Did I? No, I guess we did talk about Ober and Rose and Dungeons of Skeletons. Yeah. Okay. Did we talk about this pencils?
Yes. Yeah.
We did?
That's on Cool Cat, right?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we talked about it. All right, well, we'll just leave it at this for the moment. So you've got 5 recommendations. I would definitely say go for them. Let's see what else. Oh, of course, the big controversy happening now is the one in the Florida schools. Yeah, in which a lot of the Christian right is up in arms because this one Florida school was showing the statue of David. I don't remember if it was art class or just history or what it was. But of course, you're smiling because a sort of tertiary thing that came out of that is all these images of David and his very, very small, well,
his nose.
His very small nose, right.
Well, I used to worry because there were people who would say to me that, oh, yeah, you bear a very good resemblance to the statue of David. And I said, which part?
Well, it's as usual. The whole thing is, in my opinion, is completely misguided. It's for God's sakes, it's just a statue, people. It's not a naked person running around your classroom. It's something that's been around for thousands of years. Please lighten up. And of course, this in the wake of all the school shooting in Nashville, and it just puts everything in perspective that the right wants us to be able to own guns, but so they're not worried about the school shootings, but they are worried about a naked statue being shown in a high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting. You talked about the school shootings in Nashville, and I posted something today when I was out at a couple of doctor's appointments and things, and not signs that we saw when we were growing up, but going into the ENT's office today, there was that sign that I posted. It said, "No firearms allowed."
Oh, good.
Which was a sign posted that said, no firearms allowed. And then I went to give blood as part of in the labs, and it had a sign out front that said "No firearms allowed." And I never thought I'd see a day where used to see no shoes, no shirt, no service. Now it's no firearms allowed. So it's gone from a certain innocence of, hey, you better have a T-shirt on, or you can't get a taco salad, to don't bring your AK-47 in here, or we won't serve you. Weird.
Well, it's a damn good thing they put up that sign, because otherwise everybody would be wielding.
I felt so safe. I felt so safe since that sign was up.
Yeah, because otherwise everyone would be wielding them, and also again that that sign will certainly dissuade anyone who wanted to bring in a firearm from doing it. So of course it does. Oh my God,
it's just weird time. Yeah, I don't know, but that's cool. No, I think I mentioned also today. Yeah, I've been hearing from Rocky Burnett quite a lot. We go back and forth and talk, and his health is getting a bit worse, but he's got a great attitude. But he did send me. I sent him my 8-track tape.
I saw that. Yeah,
to him to sign, which he did. But he's never seen this. He didn't even know.
He never saw one. Huh?
He didn't know it was out on 8-track tape, and when he saw it pop out of the box, he was like, "Oh," I told him, "Listen, if you've never seen it, keep it. It's yours, buddy." And he said, "Oh God, no. You'll take much better care of this for a lot longer than I will." So he signed it and sent it back to me. But I bring it up because Rocky was on an earlier episode of Material Issues, and if you want to catch a really great interview with one of my favorite albums from 1979, Rocky Burnett, son of rock and roll, son of Johnny Burnett, cousin of Billy Burnett.
Yeah, he was a great guest. And we've had a run of really great guests lately, which has been nice. I'm not so sure I'm up for a Stump the Bash today. We don't really tired.
We don't have to stump anybody.
I went to so if anybody who was watching was waiting for that, we'll probably do it next week. I had to go to the dentist early this morning. I'm getting prepped for having upper and lower dentures put in, because I don't remember if I mentioned this last week, but during my teenage years and early 20s, I was grinding my teeth at night, and I completely neglected it. And it got to the point where I had ground them down almost to the nerve. If I ate anything that was sour, my teeth would hurt for days. So I had to go to a dentist, at which point they said, "You're going to have crowns put on these teeth." So that was 1988. I had to go through an arduous procedure to have that done. They did end up looking great, but I was told at that time they're going to last about 30 years, which seemed like an eternity back then.
Right.
I hadn't even turned 30 yet. But, of course, the 30 years came and gone, and he was right. They started to fall out or come out between 2016 and now. The problem is when crowns come out, they don't just loosen and you still got the tooth there to which they had been fastened. No, they just break off. And what you're left is these little bits of teeth that are really useless. I've gotten to the point now where most of my crowns are gone, and there's if left untreated, there's a chance for infection, which, with my heart situation, is probably not the best thing to have to deal with. So I'm going to have all of the shards removed, which will happen all in one day, and they'll put me under for that, thank God. And then right after that, I'm going to have upper and lower dentures put in. They won't exactly be permanent, they will be removable, but they'll fasten pretty well. But it's going to be a long process. After they're put in, I'm going to have to go through a healing process where there's going to be a lot of gum tissue that needs to heal, and I'm not going to be able to eat solid food for a while. And so, fortunately I'm used to having oral surgery, so it's not going to I don't think it's going to impact me that greatly in terms of my life, but I have to decide whether or not I want to have this done between IPO Chicago and Liverpool, or whether I want to wait until after Liverpool, because
Yeah.
I don't want to have to go through a healing process while I'm in the UK.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's for sure. So I might have to wait until June to have all this done. But we're not right now. We're doing the prep for it, and so I was up pretty early, and I didn't get a proper nap. So,
Well, you and I might have to coordinate this. You do your teeth. I'll get my septum surgery, and we'll both come on the air, and we'll just kind of go.
yeah, right. So,
and we'll have to call you David Osmond. You're going to have these big, beautiful chompers.
Well, we actually did pick out a shade for the teeth, and it's going to be a little bit whiter than this partial denture I have in here, but it's not going to be too white where it looks completely phony. So, I mean, it should end up looking pretty good.
Yeah.
And fortunately, insurance will cover a fair amount of this, so
That's
it's not going to end up being that expensive. I mean, dental insurance by its nature is not the most comprehensive, but I guess they are going to consider it beyond just pure cosmetic.
Well, a health issue.
Medical. Yeah. It's a definite health issue.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't get that and I just had these exposed little shards, it would be. And I've had infections.
Yeah.
But it would be a lot worse. So anyway, so we'll be doing that.
Shades of
or
gray.
50 Shades of Gray.
Yeah. Which shades of gray do we prefer? You know?
I prefer Dakota Johnson, no matter how if you've ever seen 50 Shades of Gray.
And
very erotic film.
We talk about it where, this is episode 97. We're coming up quickly on our 100th episode, April 19th. So we're still not sure what we're going to do for it. I think we're just going to invite some of our friends who've been on, maybe friends that want to be on, and just have a nice big gaggle of people talking about material issues episodes and having a good time, just talking. So we may do that. I don't know. Stay tuned.
Definitely stay tuned. We've got Deborah Lyle, or I always call her Lyle.
It's tough. It's Deborah. So because it looks like Deborah, but it's Deborah Ayal of Romeo Void. She's coming up April 12th. It's going to be it's going to be a lot of fun. She's going to be great to talk with. So if you were an early 80s dance club fan of Never Say Never and Girl in Trouble is a temporary thing, and she had a solo album out, which is fantastic. Stay tuned. April 12th, Deborah Ayal of Romeo Void.
And as usual, we still have irons in the fire. I'm still trying to get a cast member of one of the most iconic comedy films of all time. And hopefully this will happen at some point. I mean, there are people you're speaking with and people I'm speaking with. And as always, something will come to fruition. Sooner or later.
And as we talked many times before, we didn't start this thing off to be an interview program. We really didn't. We started off saying, let's talk about music. Let's hold up some new releases. Let's just chat, have a good time. And, it's gone down some really cool roads, ones I think we didn't expect. And I think a lot of our friends didn't expect either. And it's been a whole heck of a lot of fun. So expect the unexpected should be our new tagline, right? Because we pop up with some really cool guests. It's great.
Yeah, we try for sure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
but
sure.
I guess we can wind it up now. This is the length we used to do.
Way back in the day.
Yeah. So for those of you who are waiting for Stump the Bash, I do apologize. I'm just don't think I'm up for it today, but I'm sure I will be next week if we don't have a guest.
Yeah, it's all good. But nice hanging out. Hey, it's nice hanging out with everybody every Wednesday, and
absolutely,
it's always good to hang out with you, my friend.
For watching / listening. Great shirt, by the way. Show everybody the shirt.
Miyagi's Wax On, Wax Off Auto Detailing, Reseda, California.
In the town in which I live right now. And obviously, anyone who's seen the Karate Kid series of movies and Cobra Kai, the present day follow up, will know exactly what that's about. Karate Kid, certainly an iconic movie. Why not play Stump Borak? Stump Borak.
Stump Barak.
Hey,
Yeah.
John, if you're there right now and you want to play, well, we can bring you on. Mark prepared a Stump the Bash for me. He can certainly let you take a crack at it. Are you there, John? What do you think?
Oh, hey, thank you, Tim. It's great. It's great to have you checking in. It really is. We love to hear.
Thank you so much for being a loyal follower. We really appreciate it. John
This is
Borak, are you there?
John Borak.
John is at work, so he
yeah. But maybe, like I said, for our 100th episode, we might do. Maybe we'll do something with a whole bunch of guests. He says he's here, but he can't come in.
Or can't come on.
Maybe we'll do something with a whole bunch of guests.
You're like Ralph Candon, right? I can't go on. God, we could talk about the honeymooners forever, also.
Now we'll do it properly at another point in time. It'll be good. So
definitely.
Plus, you're tired, David, and plus this one tonight was going to be extra difficult. So
well, just like last week. Yeah, actually, I mean, I remember when we were doing them early on, and I said, "Yeah, give me a challenging one, like something late, higher up in the charts, or lower down, depending on your perspective." Yeah. But now we've had so many of those, I wouldn't mind like a number 8 for the year, or a number 15 or something.
Well, I can't tell you what this one was going to be. I can't give you
that. Well, but that's the thing. There is a price you pay for doing something higher, aka lower number in the chart.
Yeah.
Because you have so many more clues you can use.
Yep.
So your 5-point clues could be very, very tough on those, and even a 2-point clue could be tough. So.
No,
I mean, hopefully one day we get to the number 1, which again, and I don't remember what they were. No. I may have at some point seen what the number 1 song on Billboard was, but I don't remember it now. So, I mean, but yeah, I certainly don't mind the number, the higher chart positions or lower. I don't know what you call it. Number 90. We did 92 last week in honor of my dad's birthday. Yeah. That's all well and good also. So,
but we still have, my new attempt at something interesting, Who Charted, and that's going to be a combination of clue plus like 1 second sound clip of difficult charting songs. Could be like 1 week wonders.
There you go. No, I mean that's one that is designed for a lot of people to play, right?
I think it probably is better if
this is a speed test also, isn't it?
Could be, could be, yeah. That's good.
So we could have like 4 or 5 people play, and I mean, there could be a way you could buzz in, or
all you gotta do is go
raise your hand,
and I'll be like, "Hey, I saw you first."
Right.
Then there'll be arguments over that. I got a lag.
Yeah, right. That's always been one of my daymares. That's a phrase I coined about having a bad daydream, a daymare.
Why hasn't anybody used that as a band name? That's a great band name, the Daymares.
Yeah, I'm sure I shouldn't take credit for it. I'm sure a lot of people have coined it independently, but that I was on Jeopardy, and I would have done really well, but my damn buzzer had some kind of a flaw in it, and either it didn't work at all or it didn't immediately activate. And I kept getting beaten out by other people on things that I knew.
Right.
Not that I would ever do really well on Jeopardy, because I don't have that kind of general knowledge. I would need the $64,000 question. Then I'd win.
Well, that was the interesting thing in talking with Jackie Fox when she was on here, because she was on Jeopardy and did quite well. You always hear the stories of, well, I think I could, and then people who actually have been on game shows of it said it's a lot more difficult when you're there. And she really confirmed that, how fast paced and how much pressure there is. And, there's lights and there's, don't talk to the host, and all these things that you got to keep in your head. And then you got to answer a question.
Right. No, I'm sure it is a lot more. Well, that's what that's exactly what one of the classic Honeymooners episodes was about.
Yeah.
John Borak will attest to this. The $99,000 answer.
Yeah.
Where Ralph was well versed in humming popular songs, and he was brimming with confidence. Then he goes on the show, and when he's brought out,
It's like a deer.
he's completely nervous. And well, that's not the punchline of the show, but that's kind of what happens to a lot of people, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They get into that environment, and suddenly it's like all these eyes are on you, and and the host is there, and your peers are there, and it's like, oh my God, yeah. So who knows how? I mean, I think I would do okay in that environment because I'm used to speaking in front of people. My mother and father. That's a classic line, which I've always wondered if it was ad-libbed.
Yeah.
They asked Ralph where he was born. He said Brooklyn. They asked him where he lived, and he said Brooklyn. He said, have you lived there all your life? And Ralph says, my mother and father, they were there. Because he's so nervous. I'm wondering if that was an ad-lib by Gleason. He used to ad-lib. He was a master at that.
Yeah.
He used to ad-lib all the time on that show, and people never knew it. But
are you a fan of? Have you ever watched the series Reno 911?
I have not.
Reno 911 and Tacoma FD, which is like Tacoma Fire Department. They're on Comedy Central and their comedy show. They're like 80% ad-libbed. They have a premise. They have some scripted.
But does everyone know that?
Yes, everybody knows it. Unlike the Will Arnett show that was on recently, I forget what it was called, something detective, but Will Arnett and the other actors and things, they all knew their lines, but they would have the guest actress on who had no idea about what was going on, and the guest actor was basically completely improvising and going along with the show, and the whole premise was they had to solve a mystery, a murder or something, and the guest, it's the neatest concept because everybody else knows what they're supposed to be saying and going down, and the guest is like
is that still airing right now?
It's on, I think it's on Netflix. Like Gleason Winners, Wonderful Ad-libbers, Bob Hope not so much. I think I forget what it was called. I'd have to look it up. It's still on Netflix or app, whatever. I think it's at Netflix, but it's really good, really, really well done because you see the guest actors trying not to crack up and lose it and laugh and be a part of it without really knowing what they're part of.
Yeah, I guess the first show that featured regulars laughing was Carol Burnett's show, where I guess they didn't quite burst out into laughter, but they couldn't hold back their smiles.
No, some of those are the greatest on the planet. The Tim Conway, Harvey Korman.
Harvey Korman was especially great at that. Yeah, I mean it was natural. They just couldn't have, in rehearsal it just wasn't as funny. But once they were doing it live, I guess.
And if you've ever seen some interviews with Harvey Korman and Tim Conway, talking about those times when they couldn't keep it together, Harvey Korman says Tim Conway purposely tried to get everybody to crack up by going off script and ad-libbing.
Is that what it was?
Yep,
okay.
Doing things that they didn't expect him to do on essentially a scripted comedy show. And then he took it to different directions. He goes, I couldn't help that in that dentist scene where Tim Conway's a dentist to Harvey Korman, which is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Harvey Korman admitted that he actually peed his pants during because he's laughing so hard inside and trying not to burst. He did. He laughed, but that's some of the funniest stuff on the planet because when Conway hits his own leg with the Novocaine needle and his leg goes numb and he falls down, that wasn't part of the original rehearsed and scripted thing. He just decided to go like that, and then
that wasn't an accident. Well, of course there was no Novocaine.
No, it was just he did that, and Harvey Korman said, I just lost it. How can you not lose it? It was just so funny, and that is one of the all-time funniest things I've ever seen.
No, Tim Conway was one of the best improv comics around. Speaking of Jonathan Winters, he was on a great Twilight episode with Jack Klugman called "A Game of Pool."
Oh
where
yeah,
he was he played a completely serious role and did it. I mean, if you didn't know he was a comedian, you never would have thought so. I wonder what exactly is Stump the Bash.
It's a whole different podcast. I don't know.
That's a new word now, Stump. Remember, I was talking earlier about 11 or 12 letter words and saying, why the hell do we need those when there's still 3 or 4 letter combinations we haven't used? There's one for you, Stumo. Well, that's 5 still.
That's a brand new word.
Stumo's got to be better than why do we need onomatopoeia? Why not just Stumo?
Stumo. All right, that's our new T-shirt coming next week. Why not just Stumo?
All right. I know that was John Borak. That's why I'm making fun.
Why not just Stumo?
That's the kind of thing you can say to a friend to quote Jim Bouton. There you go.
Stump the Bash was a Marvel character.
Stump. Okay. Did you mean to say Stump? Did you mean to say Stumo there?
He meant Stump, and then he went Stumo. Oh, shoot. Another great Wednesday night hanging out here on Material Issues. I love it.
Me too. Well, all right. Well, yeah. Let's end it now if that's okay, and we'll come back next week.
We'll see everybody next week.
Who knows what? Yeah.
Who the heck knows what?
Maybe make sure I get a little sleep though. Hopefully, I know that my next dental appointment is 2 weeks.
So yeah, so next week we'll hang out again. We'll maybe do Stump the Bash. We'll see how we're all feeling next week. It's all great. And who knows? Something might pop up between now and then. You never know. And then the following week is April 12th. That's Deborah Ayal of Romeo Void. That'll be great. And after that, week after that's our 100th show. So we'll figure out something.
Maybe 2 days before we head to Rena and I head to Chicago for IPO. So
yeah. So great, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. Thanks for sticking around and goofing off here at Material Issues. Good night, Andy. Thanks. Cheers.
Good night, Andy. Thanks for staying with us. I know it's late over there. So
it's late. Yes, indeed. We'll see everybody soon. Take care, all.
Yeah, definitely. Be good. Stay safe.